Today we are being joined by Ankit Maheshwari. He's not only a visionary, but is also a proud bootstrapper and a serial entrepreneur who has successfully built 3 startups. He is listed as Asia's one of the most inspiring young entrepreneurs and social change maker by Paragon 100 Asia, featured in Business Week and Business World's top 30 young entrepreneurs in India. And he has over 15 years experience building startups which specialize in data science, big data, and AI. Ankit's most recent venture, Data is Good, was acquired and integrated into a leading EdTech platform recently. So congratulations, Ankit, and welcome.
Thank you, Rishita. Thank you so much.
So Ankit, I've been reading up about you for a week, and it has taken me some effort to sort of narrow down where I want to start, because your portfolio is just so beautiful, I would say, with different ventures, different fields, different industries. So I just want to know, where did this start?
So it started in my college days. I was doing electrical engineering, so it was a very different background. And what happened, like I didn't got really good marks in my final grade. Like I was doing a lot of computer stuff, but I somehow started coding in my first year or second year. I got good at coding. So then I remember there was a company that came to our campus for the first time. It was an IT company. I don't know if it was TCS or somebody else. And my TPM, training and placement management, they didn't allow the people who had backlogs. Backlogs are people who were not able to clear their previous exams to appear in the test of coding test.
I'm sorry, Ankit, just a sec. Could you be a little louder, please?
Okay. Am I audible now? Let me come near.
Yeah. Say something.
Am I audible now?
Yes, much better. Thank you so much. And please continue.
So I was saying, I started coding in my first year or second year of my engineering. And though I was doing electrical engineering as major, but like my interest, I found out like my interest lies in coding and all those things. And I remember in my final year, there was a campus placement going on. So there was a company called TCS or SL. I don't remember exactly. So they came to our campus, and we have to give a coding test. And but like since I had backlogs is something when you don't clear your previous exam, so you get a backlog. So I had like 2 and 3 backlogs from previous years, from third year. So my TPM said like you are not eligible to sit in the coding test. And I was very confident that I will crack that coding exam. So, but they didn't allow me like to sit in that coding exam, and I was very disheartened. And then I started thinking like if I could have like appeared in that coding exam, I could have got a salary of like 20,000, 25,000 rupees. It was 2003 or 2004. And now, and because now I think because of the same thing, if like that TPM would have allowed me to sit in coding exam, I could have got into that company. I might have become maybe a VP or senior VP at that point of time. But because he never allowed me to sit in that exam, I had to carve out of my own path. I have to take out some other jobs. I have to start working in different startups, and that changed my history. So sometimes you can say if you wish for something and if God doesn't give you that thing, it means like much better for you.
Absolutely.
And if I would have cracked that exam of the TCS, I would have like it would have ruined my career. It would have ruined my career. I would have become
your career as we know it. Yes,
some corporate guy in some big company out there. But of now course, because of that thing, that kind of pushed me hard to rethink about like my career. That made me do all those. That is like how started my journey.
Wow, just like your journey, the start in itself is a wonderful story. Yes, we've spoken about how being an electrical engineering student and learning coding, and that sort of got you just interested in computers, but your life took a completely different path. So please tell us what happened after that. How did you come into this entrepreneurial world as a young founder?
So what happened, like I got married at a very early stage, and like me and my wife were in Aligarh. So then after my engineering, she has to move to Surat. I had to move to Delhi.
Oh.
So, and then I thought like this long-term distance relationship is not going to work. So why don't we start a venture together? So that like we can start. And that is like how that the first idea came into our minds that let's do something together. We were kind of clueless, but I was doing couple of work, freelance work. I was also working in like one small startup, though my salary was very less. But then we took the jump, and we both were very passionate about. And that is like how we started our first venture, which was called Instablogs. So it was a
Uh-huh.
content network. She was very good in terms of content and marketing, and I was good in terms of tech. So we thought, let's start something together. I'll take care of the tech part. She'll take care of the content part. And I remember like within like we hired a small space, because initially our parents were not very happy that like why we are leaving our job. I remember that was a time then nobody knew about anything about startups. So people
Right.
used to think like you have a shop and you sit in the shop. So they don't even understand what is this. And we started this Instablog thing, and we took a small office, and I remember it was in Delhi, and it was so small. We didn't even have a cooler or AC. So it was middle of the heat, and we used to sit
Delhi
and
summer. Yeah.
summer. And there those were like some hard times. We used to save like 5-10 rupees on rickshaw. We used to travel. So we were like but we managed very well. Within like 3 months we had to move on to a bigger office. Then within like 6 months we had to get another big office. Within 1.5 years, 2 years, we had around like 40-50 people working with us. uh, but like taking that initial
Yeah.
plunge was very hard. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's like how it started. My first venture called Instablogs, and we became Asia's largest blog network. We got featured in New York Times, Business Week. I even was featured as like a Young Entrepreneur Award by Business Week because of the Instablogs. We
Mm-hmm.
then later even raised $4 million from Times of India for the same thing. Yeah.
All right. So from partner in life to partner in work.
Yes.
That's amazing. And if I'm not wrong, then Insta Media Network was doing around 20 million
Yes.
page views. And this was back in
It
which year?
was 2008, 2009. If I remember, recall those, like those are very early days. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes it even more impressive because the content, a platform doing those many million views, it's impressive for that time, definitely. And then after the Dubai company acquired it,
Yes.
you then directly did you move on into the next venture, or how did
So
that
it
develop?
was an interesting story. So what happened? We started in Delhi. We grew very quickly in
Mm-hmm.
Delhi. But one thing what we realized in Delhi was, it was very hard for us to retain employees. Like we were not the best paymasters, and
Mm-hmm.
since we were doing something very uh, which was kind of revolutionary in terms of internet media, and people used to get trained, and then other companies used to acquire them, even the big companies.
Mm-hmm.
So it was becoming hard for us to kind of retain employees, and plus we were kind of investing the profit back into the company.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so that was becoming very challenging for us. So one thing, what we see at that point of time was, we kind of realized, like we thought, like all the people working in our office, 90% of those people didn't belong to Delhi. They had moved to different cities. Somebody was coming from Himachal, somebody was coming from
Mm-hmm.
Bihar, somebody coming from MP. So we started
Right.
thinking like we are calling these people from their smaller cities, and then we have to pay them extra because like now they have to commute, they have to rent houses. What if
Yeah.
we move to their house, their small city, and what if we pay them a less salary? And we inquired a couple of people. They said it will be wonderful. So we
Mm-hmm.
thought like this is kind of crazy. Like only me and my wife belongs to Delhi, and everyone else is from some other city. What we are doing here when all our clients are from US or Europe, we don't have any Indian clients. What we are doing in this Delhi, and then we shortlisted a couple of cities. Then we found out like Shimla is like one of the cities which has a very strong schooling background in terms of
Mm-hmm.
English, and they have very good engineering college. And so we thought we don't need like thousand of engineers. We need 4-5 engineers. We'll get the toppers from the engineering college every year, and we'll get all the
Yeah.
content guys. And we thought like let's start a small office in Shimla and let's see how it goes. But like the kind of response we got in Shimla was so amazing. We actually shut down our entire Delhi office. We moved our entire operation to Shimla. So it was kind of dream come true. I got recently married. Then we moved to Shimla. Me and my wife was like working from Shimla. And then we remember we had a huge office, which was very cheap because it was it was Software Technology Parks of India. And then in monsoon, clouds used to come to in our office and then work there, and then grew to around 150 people in Shimla. And that was like pretty amazing. I spent like best years of my life in Shimla and like running a startup, working on our own. We were very young, like
Oh,
25, 27 years old. And then
wow. See, oh, people dream of this. You have lived it. You've been there, done that. That's
yeah, so
amazing. I mean, and this thought also that you thought, why should I drag talent out of, these small towns? Why should I not go there? It's something that people talk about. That we do speak about these metro cities becoming, the hub of all these big corporates, and people from small towns having to move to these larger cities just to work. And we do talk about it. It would be so nice if you could spread it out, like, have your offices in different areas as well. And here you are, you've
and
done
we
it.
became very
And here's in
popular in
Shimla,
Shimla. We, in
of
fact, like
course.
we were the only office which was doing. I remember once I was traveling from Delhi to Shimla, and we took a
Hmm.
flight. And from that
Right.
flight, I took a cab, and I was trying to explain that guy like, okay, I need to go to Kasamti, I need to take this route. So he told me, "Is this near Instablocks?" So I thought, yeah, that is where I want to go. So that kind of then I kind of realized like all of a sudden a smaller city where you are giving employment to 150 people in a job like this. So
Right.
people dream to go start work with us, and the retention was amazing. So we and nobody used to leave us, like even like 150 people, like there was no HR. I never. So that is like one thing I kind of struggle in my later startup. I never realized the importance of HR, because in that Shimla, people are
Yeah,
very
yeah.
contented and very happy, and like everyone was happy. People were doing good work. People used to. Uh, we had like very good time in Instablocks. Yeah.
So it saved you lots of cost by moving your office to Shimla and
And
doing
plus,
all of that.
quality life was really good. I used to joke with friends like we are the only startup in India to receive snowfall. And so,
Unicorns. They
so
should have that. Yeah.
I
No,
think we were
that's
lucky.
definitely a huge incentive that you could offer your employees and thereby retain good talent and have quality work also. I think that factored into it. No?
No, it was really good. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I can, yeah, imagine. All right. So this was then in Shimla, you did Beatout. And then
No,
Beatout
no.
was
In Shimla, we did Instablog. Then
Acha,
we raised,
Instablogs, correct.
yeah.
Sorry. And
Then
then you moved
we
on.
raised money. We raised money, because we raised money. Then Times of India said like, you guys have to be in Delhi, because like
Oh,
and then because once
okay.
we raised money, so we
Mm-hmm.
had to move to a city which I don't know, like maybe we could have bootstrap again in Shimla. We could have, but like that is where we moved our operations to Delhi, and
Right.
then we got an exit, and then that is like where we kind of parted ways with Starbucks. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, it- I would say it came back full circle from where the idea start to where you exited. Wow. And then you moved to Beatout, if I'm not wrong, right?
I tried doing one more startup in between, Content Cloud. So
Mm.
it was kind of
Oh.
it was the first time when we did something in AI. So in Instablocks, we had a very strong tech platform. So we
Hmm.
thought like, let's license this tech platform to media companies. So we
Okay.
were able to find couple of good buyers in US, clients in US and everywhere. But I was not able to scale, because at that point of time, most of the media companies were cutting their cost, and like a software which we are trying to sell to buyers, we were not able to find a lot of buyers. Maybe our sales team was not strong. So
Mhm.
we tried it for 1.5 years. It didn't work out. But from that, for the same team, we came with this an idea of Beatout, where
Mhm.
a lot of our clients were e-commerce companies, and
Okay.
we kind of saw the struggle they have in terms of custom intelligence, smarter marketing, and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So the Beatout came out of a small product. The reason we named this product called Beatout, because we it was a joke where we used to say when the beta will be out. So we said, okay,
Okay.
let's call it Beatout. And even before we could change our name, we wanted to change the name to Amplify. So the actual brand name was to Amplify, but
Mhm.
Beatout became very popular. We got our first client as Paytm.
Oh,
So since like
wonderful.
Paytm started using us, and then a lot of Paytm and even Vijay Shekhar Sharma, who was a CEO, he was very impressed with the product. He himself invested from his own pocket in the product after he used it. So
Mm-hmm.
he kind of introduced to us to a couple of people out there here and there. And
Mm-hmm.
even before we had a chance to change our rebrand, everyone started knowing Beatout, and that's why we
Oh.
started calling it Beatout. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So tell us something about, what you did there. I believe, you built a platform
Mhm.
which helped with targeted product marketing for
So
e-commerce.
exactly, let me tell you what happened with Beatout was like I remember when we had an exit with this our previous company. We had some money in our pocket, so we thought, and we ordered this expensive coffee machine from one of the e-commerce companies out there. So I won't
Okay.
name the e-commerce company because their CEO became our investor later. So we ordered
Okay.
this expensive coffee machine from an e-commerce company, and
Hmm.
uh, the experience was like amazing. They sent us the coffee machine within 2 days,
All
and
right.
they also sent an engineer to do the installation. And
Okay.
he came within a day or so. He did the entire installation. He showed us how this coffee machine is going to work, and the
Hmm.
coffee was amazing. The experience was amazing. We got a good deal. We were super happy. Then what happened after like 2 or 3 days, we received an email from the same e-commerce company that this coffee machine is on a discount of 25%. So all of a sudden, the entire experience, amazing experience, went from like from
Yes.
the hill to bottom. We started thinking like we kind of overpaid, and
Yes.
we were not very happy. So we did what an frugal Indian entrepreneur will do. We returned the entire machine. We got the full refund and then reordered that machine back with a 25% discount coupon applied. So then we started realizing that like end of the day, these guys didn't wanted to do bad. So they gave us a discount
Huh.
coupon.
Right.
So they wanted to do everything right. But like if you look at the losses of a coffee, this e-commerce company, they lost 25%. They lost money on restocking. They lost money in terms of shipping, twice the shipping, twice the installation, and plus they even lost the trust of a customer. Now next time I'm not going to buy something without researching a lot about that company. And
True.
why that happened? Because somehow their sales software is not talking to their marketing software. Somehow there
Mm-hmm.
was disconnect in the entire their customer platform, their behavioral marketing. There was no kind of behavioral marketing. And I thought like this is a problem which not only they will be facing, a lot of e-commerce companies will be facing. There is not no kind of a connection between sales and marketing, no connection between email, SMS, push, everything. So that is where we thought like we could build a software that can bring all this data together and we can put data science and AI and which can help them do very personalized marketing. That is how the
Mm-hmm.
idea of Beatout came into place from what we experienced. And yeah, and that was a personalized marketing and marketing automation platform.
Yeah, that's brilliant. What, back then, what was the size of this marketing platform industry, like where personalized or targeted marketing, and what is it now? If just curious.
So in India, like our biggest customer used to pay us like anything from 10 to 15 lakh rupees a month.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was and
Okay.
there was not even a single e-commerce company who could like survive without this kind of a platform.
Of course, that's immense value to them with this
Yeah.
platform, I'd say. And has the uptake, of course, it might have increased since then, right? I mean, you
Yes,
founded
market
then.
has become like there are like at least 10 to 20 uh, Deca unicorns in this market. Now there's maybe like 200 unicorns in this market. Even the last company that acquired Beatout Bluecore is also a unicorn.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
so it's a huge market. This market is growing every single day.
Wow, that's great. I mean, that's what we say. I called you a visionary, and this is my reason. Being able to identify opportunity in a market, in a niche, and curating a product while bootstrap that addresses those needs or closes that gaps. I was very impressed and fascinated by this Beatout, and now I know its origin story is just it's a story on its own. So and then Beatout was, like you said, got acquired by Blue Core, and then you acted as a founding director for them. And
So I
yes.
went to Blue Core, and so me, my wife, my brother, we all three moved to Blue Core. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing what we found at Blue Core, like so they were doing the same thing but only for the US clients. So they shut down our Indian branch, not because like we didn't have good clients, but they thought like we are charging too less to Indian clients. And
Oh.
So, and they said let's focus more on the US clients, and we work with almost all the biggest e-com retailers in the world, like Nike, Macy's, TripAdvisor. So I consider myself to be very fortunate that I have worked with almost all the biggest retailers, whether it's North America, whether it's India, Southeast Asia. And I was able to interact with a lot of data analysts, data scientists in different companies, how this marketing automation work, how this marketing industry has evolved. I have spent like close to 8-9 years, and
Mm-hmm.
I also saw a lot of struggle in terms of data science professionals, because most of these data science professionals, I started thinking they come from a very academic background. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the data science, the reason why any company uses data science is because they wanted to get business insights or business value out of data.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what is kind of missing from the academics part of data science. Uh,
Right.
I think the one of the reasons we founded Data is Good, I saw a huge gap, huge void in the curriculum, which is more towards tech and more towards mathematics, more towards academics. So I thought uh, today what is called data science, in next few years it will be called business science, because the whole concept of data is like, the reason businesses use data is they want a tool which can turn that data into dollars. And for them, they not need a data scientist, they need a business scientist who can understand the
Mm-hmm.
business part of data science.
Right.
Because people don't care, businesses don't care which programming languages you use, businesses don't care what kind of tools you use. They only care if you can increase their revenue, if they can slash
Mm.
your cost, or you can boost their profits. And that is
Right.
where the real value of business science lies in. So uh, that is how the story of data science came in. So I saw a huge pain point when I used to hire data scientists, data science professionals. Most of the people used to come from very academic background, and while we
Mm-hmm.
wanted people to be have a kind of domain experience and domain expertise, and then we
Mm-hmm.
had to train them. We had to a lot of times we had to even teach them how to unwire themselves from all the academics and think more from a business point of view.
Right. Right. So, then speaking of data is good, you saw this gap in
Yes.
skills or training. And then, so what kind of training does data is good sort of aim to provide to its learners? What's that difference in, yes.
Basically, if you look at the concept of learning, the concept of
Mm,
learning is like all of a sudden concept of learning is not appreciated because of the way our schooling and colleges work. But
right.
if you look at a movie, if you go and watch a movie, then if you are learning new things, you are actually learning something, but you enjoy that.
Mm,
So the point here is, can we make learning fun? Can we make learning? Can we teach learning through storytelling? Can we so that like people not only learn a subject, people should fall in love with the subject. And the whole concept here is, when we talk about stats, mathematics, data science, people get afraid. But let me ask
mm,
you one thing. Talk to any kid in India who is like in sixth class, seventh class, or eighth class, and just ask them, do you understand how this cricket scorecards work? What is a Manhattan graph? What is the this ball by ball chart? What is a warm chart? Like
mm,
how many scores? What is the run rate? What is the average score?
right.
If let's say, for example, if India won the toss, and maybe Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma decided to bat, so what is the chances of India winning? Then they are very comfortable with all those things. But when you started saying what we just mentioned is conditional probability or Bayes theorem, they say, what are you talking about? When we say this Manhattan chart is like a bar chart, or this a cumulative run chart, or this average something, if we start using technical terms, they will get afraid. So
Correct.
what people have been and people are in India, cricket is watched like a religion. People understand all the stats, all these complicated stats and everything. They understand all those things. But
Mm,
if you start calling them mathematics, they will get afraid. So the problem here
definitely.
is, I think people are not afraid of learning. Somehow our teachers gave us an impression that mathematics is hard, physics is hard, and they were not able to bring the real world use cases or make it fun. I don't know what was missing, but this was
Mm.
our basic philosophy, how we wanted to build data is good. We wanted to make sure that we not only uh, teach them something, we want them to become lifelong learners of that subject. They should fall in love with that subject.
Right, right. And so when you set out to set up and build data is good with this philosophy in mind, what were some of the earliest challenges in the edtech industry that you faced?
So I came from a very strong tech background. I understand data science. I understand marketing automation. I understand a lot of tech word, but I'm new to marketing. So marketing and sales is something which doesn't comes to me naturally. And so that was so initially the biggest challenge was since we were bootstrapping, building the initial team was hard. And
Mm-hmm.
my brother and my wife, who have been my partners in various founders, they were very comfortable in their life with Blue Code. They said like, we are loving our life. So they didn't want to join. So this was the first time I became a single founder.
All
And
right.
single founder came with a lot of challenges because a lot of things which they used to take care of, uh, I all of a sudden realized now I have to spend a lot of time in those things also. So building
Right.
initial
Of
team
course.
was very challenging. Marketing, we struggled with a lot of marketing campaigns. But the good thing was our content was so strong. Despite our marketing, despite our sales, we were able to grow very quickly. Then we were
Okay.
able to find really good sales leader in Shishir. Shishir came as a co-founder. He's very strong in sales. Very passionate person, extremely passionate person. So in Shishir, we were able to find some kind of balance where I could focus more on academies and delivery, and Shishir was able to take care of the entire marketing and sales part. So that kind of enabled us to move to the second level. But
Okay.
in this startup, I kind of struggled with finding the initial team because like I was
Yeah.
counting of my previous co-founders to join me, and they became a lot of comfortable in doing what they were doing.
Yeah.
And but all good,
Different
like
paths you took, but
with our partnership with Skill Arbitrage and LawSikho is I can see Ramanuj, who is the CEO. He comes with
mm-hmm.
a very strong marketing, very strong sales background. He understands the philosophy of marketing. He understands all that stuff. So when I first met him, I can see, okay, this is like where both of us comes from a very different background, but we come with
Mm-hmm.
the same passion of making sure that like how do we make our students succeed, and
Right.
that is
Right.
where we can become 1+1. We can become 11.
Mm-hmm. True that. And so now that you've partnered with LawSikho and Skill Arbitrage, what are your plans, short term and long term, now that you have this partnership? And what do you
So
plan to do?
short-term plan is like I want like a LawSikho founders have done a lot of things which won't be which normally we will call magical things. Like some of things they have just got this rabbit out of the head. Like building a proper bootstrap company with a revenue of such a high revenue, such quick is like kind of magical. With a team of 450 people managing 450 people all remote. This is like not heard of. Most of they are very there are I think handful of companies who have managed that kind of scale. So my short term goal is to learn as much as I can from these guys, as much I can. That is my short term goal,
That's wonderful.
and learn adopt some of their marketing technology, some of their GTM, how to go to market, how do they do their GTMs, adopt some of their GTM strategies for our data is good, and see uh, with our academics, with their GTM, how we can actually scale up very quickly. And
Mm-hmm.
in long term, we really I see India as to be one of the, I think, forefront leader in terms of data science leaders. If you look at like the kind of our mathematical aptitude, Indians, the kind of we have, uh,
Right.
we we can be the forefront of data science of all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And data
Do
science is
that.
something which is going to be now be inbuilt in every single industry out there. In last
Yeah.
like 6 months, we have seen the power of generative AI, which is also a subfield of data science. So,
Mm-hmm.
and India has a huge potential. So, but now the thing is, how do we convert that potential into real tangible assets? That is like one of the potential. I think uh, data is good, LawSikho, skill arbitrage. We all are going to uh, take this as our mission. How do we make sure that India become the worldwide leader in terms of data science and AI? That is our long-term goal.
Absolutely.
How can we?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a wonderful goal to have, and which goal I think will be supported by this new national education policy that's come out in 2020. If I'm not wrong, hasn't it made like permissions for foreign direct investment in the EdTech sector in India?
Okay.
They've made it through automatic route now, which is a huge thing. Um, so, what do you see the landscape of EdTech in India being in the light of this sort of impetus from the government or the system?
So, EdTech industry is evolving. I've seen a lot of industries evolving. So when we came into this content industry in 2005, 6, a lot of mainstream media used to get worried, like what will happen. So I remember like uh, New York Times and all those, they started bleeding a lot of money because a lot of revenue was shifting from like offline to online. So
Okay.
even today also, I think EdTech is bringing the same kind of revolution where a lot of offline education is being shifted to online. And when you shift a chunk of your business from like offline to online, then there will be a couple of feathers that get ruffled. That happen in a lot of industries we have seen. So there are a lot of people who believe in this, who really believe in the best. There are a lot of people who also think like this is going to be a fad. Though honestly, I think is going to be huge. And with government taking an active interest into this can become really big also. Uh,
Yeah.
but I think government should actually wait and watch for at least 1 or 2 years, because let this industry evolve. Let this industry be in actual needs of what, because we also don't know, the industry is evolving so quickly. We also don't know. I also see India has a huge potential where we can even impart education to even all over the world also. If you look
Yeah.
at like the way from India. So this
Yeah.
industry is evolving so quickly, and yes, all the initiatives of government is always welcome, but I think government should also look at with a watchful eye and also give some kind of leeway, at least a couple of years. Make sure this industry doesn't get burdened with unnecessary laws and rules. That is my personal opinion. But let's
Yeah.
see, I think
Yeah.
these guys are more smarter than me. They understand their work better than me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why they are supporting this online education, and they really want to go this route because they tested it during the pandemic. And if it hadn't been for increased smartphone reach, increased internet connectivity, whatever little online education has happened during the pandemic period, it would not have been possible. And I think they have seen it. I think everybody has seen it. So yeah, we'll have to just watch. I mean, some reports even say that they expect the Indian EdTech sector to become almost anywhere between 4 to 10 billion US dollars by 2025. So that is a huge, big leap. And talking about leaps, no leap can be made without obviously achieving a few milestones. So now that we've spoken about all three of your ventures and your background and your education, when you look back, what are some of those milestones that stand out to you
Milestones. So
that you have achieved? Yes.
I've enjoyed all my journeys. So I think the biggest milestones are those small victories. So small. So for me, like launching your first product is a big milestone. And
Definitely.
like a lot of people say it's like raising a big amount or getting exit is a milestone. Yeah, I agree. But like even launching your first product, because I remember when we launched our first product in Instablog, we worked for like 72 hours non-stop. We used to like sleep for 1 or 2 hours. And that also in office. We used to work in office, and we were under so much pressure. And then when we launch it, when we launch it within like 2 hours, the traffic we got on our product, it crashed down. And then we again have to sit for another 24 hours to make sure everything's works. So those memories, like launching your first stable product, is a big milestone that gives you a lot of confidence in your initial team, and that lays a big foundation. So for me, the biggest milestone, which is kind of counterintuitive, is like your first launch or like your first win. And sometimes you remember those wins more than your bigger wins. If you ask me, for me, like those smaller wins and those first launches are my biggest milestones. Building teams, like connecting with people out there. And thanks to my different ventures, I have met some of the most prominent people in the world, whom if I could have gone into a corporate world, I would have never got an opportunity to interact with. I got a chance to meet some of the best investors in the world. Even I was able to get those investors in my believe in me and invest in my company itself. So there are so many things. I think we have built so many stories. I've enjoyed my journey. So claiming 1 or 2 milestones is like not giving enough justice to all those small wins. So everything is itself in a milestone. Yeah.
All right, I won't push you on that, but there is something I really want to talk to you about. I have read that you were mentored by Tinder's Sam Yagan. How did this happen? And what's the story?
So basically, Tinder. Sam Yagan, who was the group CEO of Match Group, and they acquired Tinder
Right.
recently.
Acha,
And then,
okay.
like, he's from Chicago. He's very supportive of startups.
Mm-hmm.
So we were trying to chase him so that he can use a Beatout for his Match Group. And but like
Okay.
he was kind of, he thought like vision is very strong, but like coming from
Mm-hmm.
India with a small team, he was not that convinced like we can serve the entire Tinder Match Group. But he said he
Right.
really wanted to put his own money and see us grow. And like that is like how I met Sam. And I was also part of Techstars. He also wanted us to be the part of Techstars.
The
Techstars in Chicago.
accelerator.
So
Uh-huh. Okay.
then Sam introduced us to Techstars. And like so Sam Yagan is very interesting. He was a kind of a child prodigy. He did a lot of interesting startups. For us, he was a big nerd, and for him getting into Beatout was a big
Mm-hmm.
validation for the entire tech team that we are building a tech product which even
Yeah.
companies in US will be happy to use. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that is brilliant. I mean, we have I have read about Sam Yagan's investments and his organizations that is found.
Sam Yagan was very interesting. He used to give 10
Yeah.
minutes of meetings, like, and he used to be. He also taught me like you have to explain everything, whatever you want in within like 1 or 2 minutes. You
Yeah.
cannot. Uh, Sam Yagan has a he. I learned a lot of things from Sam. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Elevator pitching.
elevated. Yeah. So yeah, see, he taught us like you have to talk in headlines. You cannot talk in paragraphs. Like
Correct. Nobody reads paragraphs anymore. So that is
exactly.
amazing. I can only imagine, like you said, it must have felt so validating to have Sam believe in your vision. As you guys still um,
No,
take
so
advice from him.
sometimes yes, I should now since you mentioned, I think I should send an email to Sam and just tell him like the next about this our next venture also got like acquired. He would be very
Uh-huh.
happy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sounds like it. We have spoken about your ventures, being mentored, investments, milestones. What advice would you like to give another young professional who is thinking about starting their own entrepreneurial journey? Um, just whatever you've learned that you want to just pass on to them.
So the thing here is when you start a startup, so initial your first few months, your first few clients are very different than like the once your start business started growing.
Mm-hmm.
So as a startup as a fellow startup founder, I'll advise other startup founders is be uh, very adaptive to that change. So,
Yeah.
and once you start launch a product, you get like you get very emotional to that product. You get very tied to that product. For example, like I remember, I wrote the first framework for Beatout, and I got very
Mm-hmm.
emotional to that framework. And a lot of times, my team used to say, "Ki, we should adopt a newer framework," and I say, "No, no," because I have written it. But then after a couple of months, and I started realizing, no, now I had to focus on bigger things. I had to do other things, and then we had to change our framework. So I'll give advice to other startup founders is be very adaptive to the need of change as your
Mm-hmm.
startup requires. When you are 10 people company, your needs are very different. When you're 20 people company, your 50 people company, the needs are very different. And sometimes these needs changes so drastically, you're not even acceptable of that change. So
Mm.
one thing which I really love about Ramanuj is like the way he's able to manage his 450 people team. His
Yeah.
art of delegating people, his art of believing people. That is like something. So and the best part about in being a startup founder is you should also be ready to learn from other founders.
Yeah.
Sometimes you teach others, sometimes you learn from others.
Yeah.
So
So being
be
lifelong
always a
learners.
learner. So as a founder, you are a learner for life. You have to
Mm-hmm.
learn every single time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be that's a very on point advice. Definitely, not just for entrepreneurs, but for literally everyone out there. So thank you for that. One last thing I would like to ask before you go. So we've spoken about founders' perspective. We've spoken about gaps in skills. We have spoken about the way education or training is imparted. Now I want to ask that someone who wants to upskill themselves in today's
Mhm.
market, whether it be for startups or for any other kind of professional workplace, What skills do you see being extremely useful in the coming times? Not just technical skills, but even non-technical skills that you may have experienced in your own work as a founder or a people manager, product
I
manager
think
as
there are a couple of skills which everyone should learn. One is communication, like
well.
learning to communicate, whether it's
Right.
like through verbally, through written communication, that is extremely
Mm-hmm.
important. And the second is like project management, like product management, project management is like, how do you make sure that you, today everyone is busy. How do you make sure you can organize your day-to-day work life? That is extremely important. And I think third thing is ability to learning. So you have to today,
Yes.
uh, the way world is changing so fast, you should be learning new things every single day. So first thing is, if
True
you can
that.
invest in learning new things. So in
Mm-hmm.
fact, like I remember my wife did this small course on accelerated learning. So she
Mm-hmm.
used to tell like learning is also an art. So
Right.
like that if you, these are three things I think, like become very strong in terms of communication, project management. Like if you do project management very well, people
Mm-hmm.
working with you, not only your life will become easier, their life will become easier. And third is, if you can invest personally in terms of increasing your ability to learn, how can you accelerate your
Definitely.
learning? So this is a topic which has been covered multiple times, but I think it's a very, very important topic. You have to learn new things very fast in today's age. So these are
Absolutely. Because so many new things are coming up so fast. It's like it's so hard to catch up. But if you really try, you can do it. As long as it's relevant to your work and your interests, you can do it. Yeah,
yes,
I
yes.
agree. So
Right.
thank you so, so much, Ankit,
Thank you,
for
Shimla.
this lovely chat. Um, and to be honest, I was a little nervous just in terms of, he's done so much. What am I going to talk about? But thank you so much for making this feel so natural and for being so receptive to my questions and so generous with your answers.
Thank you, Shimla,
Um,
for
and
talking about
I hope to see you again soon.
it.
Thank you so much.
Take
And
care.
to those watching, thank you again. And we were live from the Skill Arbitrage YouTube channel, which you can follow, subscribe if you want to see similar videos every week on Thursday at 8 p.m. I am Rishita, and this is Ankit, and goodbye.